Welcome to a brand new episode of Wrestling with Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host, Armando.
Hi guys, I'm Armando, and welcome to Wrestling with Siblings. We have a very exciting episode today.
Exactly. Raw was basically in its home in Orlando, Florida, and Raw starts off backstage with the brawl between Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley.
Let me tell you, this Raw is one of the best Raws we've seen in a while. I mean, what a great way to start off the year. Overall, it was a good one.
And since you did say it's one of the best Raws we've seen in a while, I do also want to mention it's the first live Raw of the year. So it is a fantastic way to start off the year, just like you said. And then let's get back into the brawl. They're pretty much brawling, right? And then they bring it up into the ring, and then the whole roster just comes out and starts to separate them, and then there's like a break. And then John Cena opens up the show, and it's his return to Raw. As we do know, last week he returned to Smackdown Live. This week he was at Raw. Surprisingly, he wasn't at Smackdown, though, but
and he pretty much said that it was the road to WrestleMania, that it's starting to smell like Mania.
And he's right, because we are 3 weeks away from the Royal Rumble. And he says that this time, if he doesn't step up, he's going to get left out. And right now, that's what he's willing to do, to step up.
He also made an announcement that he was going to be a participant in the 30-man Royal Rumble.
And he plans on winning the Rumble to getting that golden ticket to main eventing WrestleMania and challenging for the WWE Universal Championship or the WWE Championship in general.
And as you guys know, last WrestleMania, he really didn't have an opponent up until the last minute. And like he said, he doesn't want to be left out. So he's going to enter himself and try to win it.
Exactly. And he gets interrupted by none other than Drew McIntyre, who is genius for doing this. And I think this alone helped out his career a lot just because of who he was, talking with. And Drew McIntyre comes out and he said he has waited years for this moment and that he doesn't care about anything, that he only cares about the main event of WrestleMania, and that John Cena is a 16-time world champion, and that's what he cares about.
Yeah, and that he's been waiting for this whole moment his entire career to put John Cena down. And I don't blame him, because he is trying to make a statement. And he's picking the big stars like John Cena. He already proved himself against Kurt Angle. And I mean, if he's able to take down John Cena down the road, what better way to major his career?
And piggybacking on that, he does call John Cena the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And he said he is now known for taking out the GOATs. You mentioned one of them, Kurt Angle. Another one is Dolph Ziggler, The Shield. So he has pretty much single-handedly taken out all of them, and now the fact that he is targeting John Cena, that is major, because you don't know where that leads McIntyre going into WrestleMania.
Yeah, and like I said, he's picking and choosing his targets, and he's doing a great job. What better way to make a name for yourself?
And then Cena says that he left so that they can finally learn how to cut a promo. And, I mean, if you ask me, generally, I just think that Drew McIntyre doesn't need that, because he's already at the point where he has to be. And he's only going to get better from here.
Yeah, he's the full package, no doubt about it. But you got to give credit to John Cena. He is one of the best out there. And, I mean, he does know how to cut a promo, definitely.
And then Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush decide to interrupt. Lio starts off by saying that the show is canceled until somebody does something about Seth Rollins and the brawl that just happened. He says the show is not going to go on. And then a brawl breaks out between pretty much Lashley, Cena, McIntyre. And then Dean Ambrose, Seth, and Finn come out. And that leads into the first match of the night, which was a 6-man tag team match. It was John Cena, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley, Dean Ambrose, and Drew McIntyre. Bobby Lashley always using his power to his advantage. He used that to his advantage in this match, and he uses it to his advantage in every match. And in this case, he was taking down Finn Balor, taking off his speed, using his power.
Yeah, and as Dean Ambrose had mentioned before, this is pretty much the dream team.
And if you pay close attention to that, he said it was a dream team, but this is also the team that took down the Shield. Not including Dean. I guess you can include him if you want. But if you really think about it, this is the team that took out the Shield, something nobody has been able to do other than Seth Rollins. And, Finn Balor, I feel like he really is now getting a push finally, and I feel like he's finally getting to showcase more of who Finn Balor is. And obviously putting him with somebody like John Cena and somebody like Seth was really going to help him out. And I feel like Cena did a fantastic job making sure that both Seth and Finn look fantastic in this match.
I mean, what a tag team match. I mean, you have on one side a legend like John Cena. Then you have Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, which, two of the top athletes in the main roster. And then on the other hand, you have the Intercontinental Champion, Dean Ambrose, McIntyre, which he has been doing a phenomenal this year.
And you cannot forget about their other opponent and their other tag team partner, Bobby Lashley, who we've seen come a major long way ever since being partnered with somebody like Lio Rush.
I got to give credit to Lio Rush. At first, I kind of had my doubts on what he was going to do with Bobby Lashley, but it seems like it's turning out great so far, and that's what Bobby Lashley needed in his career.
And keep in mind, these teams know each other super, super well at this point, that they did a fantastic job keeping Seth Rollins out of this match until the very, very end. As soon as Seth came in, the momentum changed. Seth, you knew for a fact he was going to win this match. And he came in fired up. He came in more ready than ever, and we got to see that Seth Rollins that we have been wanting to see for the last couple of months or a year, I guess.
Yeah, we're seeing that Seth Rollins that has a fire in his eyes that pretty much that was with the Authority.
Exactly.
He's willing to go to the extreme and do whatever it takes to win. And this Seth Rollins looks good for me, and it's going to be another great year for him. I feel it. And he's also a one that you got to keep an eye out for the Rumble.
Yes, completely agree with that. And he current stomps Dean Ambrose, and that's how he was able to get the win. And then they cut to Triple H talking backstage with Sasha and Bayley, and it kind of seems like he's not paying attention to the match. So you can kind of see that kind of bothers Seth in a way, because you can see him just drop everything and leave. And he meets him backstage, and he's like, I want Dean Ambrose. I want my Intercontinental Championship opportunity, and I want it today, and I want it now, basically. And Triple H, I guess he saw what Seth Rollins did, because he told him, he was like, you can have your rematch tonight in a Falls Count Anywheres match against Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship. And he pretty much says, welcome back, Seth. So he knows he fired up Seth. He knows he brought him to the level that he wants him. And Seth is very, very dangerous, being the Seth Rollins that he is.
Definitely. We saw what he did with the Authority. So definitely dangerous.
Let's get into, very, very quickly, Hulk Hogan. He's back in the WWE, I guess, for a one night only. He was there to honor the legacy of Mean Gene. So basically, he comes out in a character, and he addresses the WWE Universe, and then a video package plays, and then that's basically it. You can tell it was like a very heartwarming moment for him, but that's all that happened during that segment. All right, moving on to the second match of the night, which was Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus the Revival for the Tag Team Championships. As we do know, the Revival became the number one contenders, I believe it was last week.
Yes.
And now they're finally getting their opportunity. I gotta admit, man, I really thought the Revival were gonna give more and deliver more in this match, but Bobby Roode and Chad Gable definitely did their homework. They were able to keep the Revival down.
It took Bobby Roode and Chad Gable a little bit to take control of the match, but once they did, it was all them. But I mean, you gotta feel bad for the Revival. I mean, again, a bad decision pretty much cost them the title.
And they're finally getting that opportunity, which is good, but I feel like they need to be more focused. They need to know and have their priorities and their goals straight. They want the championships. They gotta be able to know how to get there. They already became the number one contenders. They already had the opportunity to be champions. All they needed to do was execute that perfectly. And like I said, I feel like Bobby Roode and Chad Gable did their homework, and they studied the Revival, and they knew what they were getting themselves into.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, the Revival got unlucky just because when there was a pinfall, the Revival had their foot on the ropes, and the ref actually counted 1, 2, 3, and he didn't see it. So, oh, and we forgot to mention that it was a lumberjack match.
Exactly, and they're always, if you look at it, they're kind of always just getting screwed over. They're kind of just, overlooked and not appreciated if you were to look at it from the Revival's point of view. Again, we did get to see them with the Lucha House Rules, which was basically 3-on-1, and now they can't win.
Yeah, and I think they're waiting for that big one. The moment they win it, it's gonna be in a big event. And they've just been getting unlucky.
I agree with that one. But I also feel like I have to give credit to Bobby Roode and Chad Gable because I underestimated them in the beginning. I didn't think they were going to get this far, even be champions, and they have learned so much from each other over the last couple of months.
This partnership of Chad Gable and Bobby Roode kind of reminds me of when Mick Foley partnered Sheamus and Cesaro. Everybody thought it wasn't going to work because of their egos and all the feud that they had, but look at them now, and hopefully it turns out pretty good the way it is with Chad Gable and Bobby Roode.
Of course, they've learned from each other, and they've gotten to really be comfortable with each other to the point where now they're the tag champions. It's going to be interesting to see who takes them down. All right, moving on to Elias, who comes out and starts talking about his 2018 and how he was playing around the world, selling out Madison Square Garden, and his debut album. And he also announced that he is entering and winning the 2019 Men's Royal Rumble match. And he enjoys looking at what happened to Baron Corbin, losing his job, and all that stuff. So then Baron Corbin decides to interrupt him. He comes out in a suit still, so I guess that's still kind of part of his persona. He's not really in his wrestling gear. And he claims that he should get everybody's respect because he says that running Raw isn't simple and it wasn't easy and that he did his best. And he's also going to be entering the Royal Rumble.
I do give him that. It's not easy running a show like Raw. But, I mean, he really didn't do a good job, and he did abuse his power, if we're being honest.
He definitely did. And then this obviously leads into a match, Elias versus Baron Corbin. Elias not wasting any time, man. The major improvement that he has gone and gained over the last couple of months, over the last year, I guess, is amazing.
Again, 2018 was, in my opinion, the year of Elias. He had one hell of a year, and I think 2019 is going to be an even bigger year for him.
And I do see him becoming champion of some sort in 2019, whether it be U.S., Intercontinental, or even one of the bigger caliber matches. I do see him becoming champion, though.
I don't think he's going to get the big caliber like the WWE Universal Championship, or the WWE. But I do see him as an Intercontinental Champion or
a U.S. That's definitely going to be interesting. As for Baron Corbin, it's going to be great to see where he's going to go next. I mean, he just went from being general manager to basically being back to a superstar. And from what it looks like is they're going to use this storyline to their advantage and use it to where he might even feud with the entire Raw roster using this own storyline with each individual based on what he did to all of them, because he had beef with everybody. Even the women, if you really think about it. All right, moving on to Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. And Braun Strowman, pretty much. So Braun comes out, and he goes straight to calling out the Beast. He does not say anything. He just tells him, come out. And Paul Heyman, there he is, in the Titantron with Brock Lesnar. The biggest tease, man. You thought they were going to come out. But we got to see them from the Titantron. There wasn't a face-to-face confrontation until later on. And you have Braun trying to trash talk somebody like Brock to get him to come out, trying to push his buttons, trying to piss him off a little bit so that he can finally have that face-to-face confrontation that Paul Heyman claimed was canceled.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, he wasn't only talking smack to Brock, but also Paul Heyman. But you got to give credit to Paul Heyman. That's why he's been a successful manager and done a great job with Brock Lesnar. I mean, he pretty much teased Braun Strowman that Brock Lesnar was going to go out there to the ring, and he pretty much didn't.
Exactly.
And that's all behind Paul Heyman. He's the brains of Brock Lesnar.
Exactly. And so then Brock finally decides he wants to go out, and he goes out and he does nothing other than walk around the ring and pretty much just laugh, which we already know is his mind game. It's his way of getting into people's head and his way of intimidating his opponent. But in this case, I don't really think Braun is intimidated. I think he's just more upset because he can't get his hands on Brock Lesnar.
And also, too, I feel that Braun Strowman had the opportunity to go chasing after him, and he kind of didn't do that. And I think the reason behind that is because I feel like he's not 100% yet fully recovered from his injury. And they're trying to save the match till the Royal Rumble.
And Braun does claim that he is walking out of Arizona the Universal Champion. And so then Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox, they come out, and Jinder pretty much starts saying that they don't deserve, that city, basically Orlando, doesn't deserve to see them meditate. Okay, a little weird, but, we'll let it slide. And then it's Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox versus Apollo Crews and Ember Moon. Super short match, less than 5 minutes. It's pretty much just to showcase the talent of Ember Moon and Apollo Crews, who seem to work very, very well together. It's a pretty odd pairing, but it works. And I like it because they balance each other out in weird ways that I can't explain.
Yeah, and then Apollo has been he had one hell of a week last week, and, just excited for him to see what he's going to do in this year.
And Ember obviously taking home the win with her extreme quickness. And she was ready for Alicia, and she was 100% prepared, and she knew what she was getting herself into when this match was taking place. All right, moving on to the premiere episode of A Moment of Bliss with special guest star, the Raw Women's Champion, Ronda Rousey. Ronda basically comes out and she says that she wants to look forward and not back. And then she goes on to say that the hero of the women's division is Sasha Banks and that she's super underrated and super, not appreciated, I guess, and not seen for what she can really do inside of the ring.
Yeah, she pretty much called her the Rocky Balboa of the WWE.
Exactly. And therefore, Nia Jax comes out and she is like, whoa, I deserve the opportunity. Every woman always feels entitled to the fact that they deserve an opportunity. And so she comes out and interrupts and wants a rematch.
Especially now that WWE is giving all the superstars the opportunity. So she feels that she needs to step up and seize that opportunity.
And really prove himself, to management to see where she can take a career from now. And Sasha Banks interrupts and she tells the WWE Universe and Ronda to her face that she is honored that Ronda thinks that way of her, and that she's honored about her words. But Nia Jax then tells her, no, I deserve the opportunity. You have to get back in line. And then Sasha tells her, what line? Well, she says a bad word, but I'm not going to say it here on Wrestling with Siblings because we don't do that. But she basically says, what line? There's a ring right there. We can settle this in the ring. And the winner will face Ronda Rousey at the Royal Rumble for the championship.
So then that leads to Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax.
Exactly. With the stipulation being the winner faces Ronda Rousey at the Royal Rumble. Now, if you ask me, it's brilliant to have Sasha in this match. I think it is brilliant. It was the greatest plan they could have possibly ever done. And again, I'm going to say it right now before we get into the match. Sasha Banks ends up winning this match. So therefore, that means she is more than likely not going to be an entrant to this year's Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that is correct. I mean, she really does deserve the opportunity. And I think this is her big chance to prove herself again.
Exactly. Even though I don't feel like she has to, but to management, it may be different. All right, and then Sasha, extremely talented and underrated, but she's not giving Nia any opportunity. She was definitely prepared. She knew what she was getting herself into, and she was using her quickness to try to take down Nia Jax.
You could tell Sasha really wanted that title shot, so she gave it her all, and she didn't back down from Nia Jax.
She didn't.
And we saw it throughout the entire match.
And we know she is one of the most talented and more skilled women's wrestler of the entire division. You know, we know how good she is. We know how great and how over she can put people.
Yeah, and I have to agree with what you said a couple moments ago that people kind of underestimate her. You know, that because she's pretty much always partnered up with Bailey, but in reality, Sasha is so talented. I mean, she's part of the Four Horsewomen.
Yeah, she definitely is, but I feel like she's overlooked, and I feel like people realize that she's talented, but I don't think that they realize how good she really, really is. Like, if you can put her in a match against anybody you want, they could be a rookie or they could be a veteran, and she will deliver 100%.
Nia Jax obviously using the power to her advantage during this match, but that wasn't enough to take down Sasha Banks.
And Nia obviously had somebody like Tamina at ringside, so Bailey had to be at ringside for Sasha, and that obviously played a really huge role because she was focusing on taking out Tamina so that she couldn't interfere in this match.
Yeah, and we saw that throughout the match. Whenever Tamina tried to get involved, Bailey was there right away to try to block that offensive from Tamina.
Exactly, and therefore Sasha Banks is able to apply the Banks statement and therefore advancing to the Royal Rumble to face Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship. This is going to be a match.
This is going to be a big match, not only for Sasha, but especially for Ronda. If not, this is probably her biggest match of the year.
To Ronda or to Sasha?
To Ronda.
And I also feel like this is going to be the most competitive match she's going to have. Like, yeah, her best match was probably against Charlotte. But the most competitive match is going to be Sasha for sure because the amount of talent and the amount of athleticism of Sasha Banks, she can turn something very, very quickly. And I feel like this is going to be a fantastic match. Definitely a show stealer, but we're going to have to see where this match goes moving forward. Moving on to Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship in a Falls Count Anywhere match. This match was just brutal. Like, there's just no other way to describe it. It was great. It was brilliant. It was amazing. I loved it. But it was brutal from both sides.
Yeah, because they pretty much whatever they could find, they used. It was either ladders or whatever they came across their path in the match, they used to beat each other up.
And Seth Rollins wasted absolutely no time. This is a Seth Rollins that we know can really, really deliver. And he immediately started attacking Dean.
Yeah, and he didn't give Dean no offense whatsoever during the match.
Exactly. He dominated 99% of this match.
Pretty much.
And therefore, he was, fired up, extremely brutal. And Ambrose finally able to capitalize and immediately grabbing / throwing a ladder at Seth. That right there tells you that he knew he needed something. He needed a weapon to take down the Seth Rollins that he was about to face.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, this is a new Seth Rollins that we've seen, and he proved it in this match.
And keep in mind, Dean, with this Seth, he hasn't got it in his head. This is a new, rejuvenated Seth Rollins. So he definitely wasn't inside Seth's head during this match.
And Seth Rollins, he's more focused on what he wants now. And this, like Triple H has said, that he wanted to see that Seth Rollins that is willing to take and do whatever it takes to win. Well, he's pretty much going to go through everybody. And he pretty much showed it with Dean Ambrose.
And we do know that Seth Rollins had this match won. He hit Dean with the curb stomp, and Dean was pretty much out. He was gone. And then he gets interrupted, and his match gets cost by who? Who costed him this match, Armando?
Bobby Lashley.
Are you surprised?
No, and I think he's picked off more than he can chew.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what ended up costing Seth Rollins the match. I'm a firm believer that he pretty much would have won the match if it wasn't for Bobby Lashley.
I 100% agree with that. And, well, he pretty much took out Seth Rollins. He took him out. Yeah. 100%.
And then Dean Ambrose was able to crawl his way on top of Seth Rollins to get the pinfall victory.
Exactly. So, for sure, Bobby Lashley helped Dean pick up the victory. And like he said, Dream Team. So, keep in mind that it's a possibility. Dean can possibly have some backup in Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, but we do know Drew McIntyre is pretty much run solo.
Yeah, and from what I've seen from McIntyre up to this point, I wouldn't trust him. Just because he betrayed
Dolph
Ziggler.
And everybody.
Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be a clash of egos there, and like you said, McIntyre wants to do whatever it takes also to go up
in the roster, pretty much. All right, let's get into Smackdown Live. It was live from Jacksonville, Florida. This is probably the weirdest way that I have ever in the history seen Smackdown Live open up. You see Daniel Bryan pretty much outside by the concession stands, and he's pretty much talking madness about the WWE Universe, and he cuts this really long promo about people killing the planet and how the Yes Movement is now dead and how people are eating about the concession stands, and you can already imagine the whole universe and planet and how he's trying to save the world.
I see what WWE is trying to do with Daniel Bryan. They're trying to bring something new, something different, which is great. I like the idea, but I'm sure me and you could agree that we just don't see Daniel Bryan as a heel, just because it doesn't fit him. And a perfect example, like Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is a great heel.
Exactly, and if you were to see him as a face, you would kind of be like, okay, where is the heel Kevin Owens that I have known?
Yeah,
you know?
And it's because we're not used to seeing Daniel Bryan play a heel.
And somebody like The Miz, who now is currently a face, and you're kind of like, what are you doing with Miz, And you just see him more as a bad guy than as a good guy. Even though he genuinely is a good guy. But you guys get what I mean. And then, finally, the hero of all heroes, R-Truth, has had enough of Daniel Bryan. So what does he do? He comes out and starts attacking him. And then, therefore, that is the very first match of the night. R-Truth versus Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, R-Truth fired up, taking advantage that he had attacked Daniel Bryan from behind.
And major improvement by R-Truth. And there was no Carmella with him by his side because obviously we do know she had a championship match that she was going to be, well, a qualified match, I guess, that she was going to be competed in. I got to give credit to R-Truth, man. He is extremely talented, and I feel like he's super underrated. People don't give him the credit that he deserves. Kind of like Sasha. People just see him as a comedian that puts on funny storylines for the WWE, but they don't really give him that credit that he really, really deserves.
Yeah, and it all has to do with the fact that he really hasn't had that ring time in SmackDown. And I feel that this year is going to be the year where he's going to get more opportunity to prove himself in the ring.
And Daniel Bryan with the victory. It wasn't long after he was able to put R-Truth away once and for all. And obviously, using his skill and his athleticism to his advantage.
And AJ Styles, after the match, attacked Daniel Bryan.
Yep, and then there's like a mini brawl, and Daniel Bryan has to run away from AJ Styles. Very, very interesting how things are going to go down at the Royal Rumble for this match.
Kind of like Seth Rollins, this is a different AJ Styles too. He's also fired up and ready to go, man.
Yes, and now let's get into probably my favorite match. Well, one of my favorite matches of the night. Rey Mysterio and Mustafa Ali versus Samoa Joe and Andrade Cien Almas with Zelina Vega. Andrade is finally getting that opportunity that he deserves. And I feel like it's fantastic because he's underappreciated. He's underrated as well. He's one of those that was just kind of thrown into the main roster and was like, well, good luck. And he was never given that opportunity. And now the last 3 weeks, he has been the star of the matches that he has been in.
Yeah, definitely. Extremely, extremely talented. And partnering him up with Samoa Joe was brilliant just because he could learn and pick up from Samoa Joe.
Exactly. And Mustafa Ali, obviously partnering him up with Rey Mysterio is great. Like Armando said, he can learn a lot from him as well. And they have kind of similar wrestling styles. Same thing with Almas. So having these three in this match, we already knew was going to be a show stealer. However, I did tell Armando this, and remember how I told you, and they're going to have Almas lose. He's not going to win, and the reason why I thought that was, one, he's been on a losing streak, and two, Mustafa Ali hasn't lost since coming into the main roster 3 weeks ago. So I told Armando he's definitely going to take a loss here, and to my surprise, Andrade picked up the victory, and I was so excited.
Yeah, and Mustafa Ali hasn't lost in singles competition. He has lost in tag team matches.
Exactly. But, he hadn't officially lost. Mustafa Ali, though, he's looking great. He's looking fantastic. Another incredible athlete. I feel like it was long overdue for him to already come into the main roster. He was in 205 since the very beginning.
And he was tearing it down in 205. I mean, he deserved the opportunity to get called up, and he's proving himself week after week after week.
Yeah, and he brings new moves, a new wrestling style, a lot of quickness, everything, and he's going to definitely be a big star, and I see that coming for him within the next couple of years.
Huge addition to the Smackdown
roster. Exactly. And Rey Mysterio, he is looking better than ever. He is at his prime. If you think it was at his prime 10 years ago, no, he is at his prime now. Went to the Indies, bettered himself, came back, and now is 100% better.
I have to agree. Him going to the Indies was probably the best thing that happened to him, just because he improved himself, he rejuvenated himself, and he's even better than what he was before.
Same thing that happened with McIntyre.
Exactly.
And so at this point, Rey Mysterio, to me, has earned his spot in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he has been killing it and tearing it down ever since coming back to Smackdown Live.
And I mean, he kills it everywhere he goes. I mean,
exactly.
He's just a super talented athlete.
And not to mention, man, those small little moments, those small little fights that he had with Andrade Cien Almas, fantastic, brilliant. This is the Lucha Libre style that I've been waiting to see from both sides.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, we got to see it, and they completely tore the house down. And like I've been telling Araceli, for me, this is the dream match at WrestleMania. Andrade Cien Almas versus Rey Mysterio.
I can definitely see that happening. I mean, you can never underestimate, the power of the WWE, and don't ever underestimate Andrade Cien Almas because he can come back fire.
No, and he proved it, and like you said, this is the year of Tranquilo, and he proved it this week, and it's going to be one hell of a year for him.
And Selena was extremely proud that Andrade picked up the win, so it all starts here. It started yesterday, and it's going to continue to go until the rest of 2019.
All his hard work is starting to pay off slowly.
Exactly. Patience is key. And it's about to begin, so be ready, because I don't think people are ready for the year of Tranquilo. And Samoa Joe. There's nothing to say about him, man. He's just, for a man his size, he is a fantastic athlete.
Yeah, the way he moves in the ring is just super impressive. I mean, you see the guy flying throughout the ring doing suicide dives. It's just super impressive.
He can definitely compete with people like Rey Mysterio, Mustafa Ali, and Andrade Cien Almas.
And I think he was also key on helping Andrade Cien Almas win this match. And
yeah, because if you really look at it, Samoa Joe could have hogged all the spotlight. He could have taken this match and made it his own, but he let Andrade carry himself and carry this match, and therefore he was able to let Andrade pick up a victory and pick up a win. Moving on to Rusev Day. He basically comes out and starts saying that Lana got hurt because of Shinsuke Nakamura and his selfish actions, that she is at home, and that he stands before us not as a U.S. champ, but as a husband. And he said that once you mess with his wife Lana, you pretty much cross the line. And he promises to break and crush Shinsuke Nakamura. And then Shinsuke,
from the production truck, pretty much states and shows Rusev that it wasn't his fault that Lana got hurt.
By showing him, he means that he showed him footage that he didn't do anything to Lana. He didn't touch her. He didn't do anything. It was Rusev who kicked him and ended up, and he fell on top of Lana pretty much.
Yeah, and I mean, Shinsuke does have a point on that. I mean, he just stood up and he got super kicked by Rusev, and Lana was on his back and he fell backwards. And
I definitely agree. You know, it wasn't his fault, and I feel like he has a really valid point. And Rusev then comes out to look for Shinsuke Nakamura, and Shinsuke a step ahead, already waiting for Rusev, and therefore he gets attacked.
I feel that this is the proper storyline that Shinsuke Nakamura was looking for.
Exactly, because if you look at his career from pretty much the Rumble, because ever since last year's Royal Rumble up until now, he has done nothing. The only feud he had that entire year was the feud with AJ Styles. And even then, that feud was probably the hottest feud he's had. And now it's like, okay, this is something that's going to bring Shinsuke Nakamura back to the spotlight, back to where we want to see him.
Hopefully, because I want to see the best Shinsuke Nakamura we could get.
The Shinsuke from the Indies, the Shinsuke from NXT. The Usos versus The Bar. And if the Usos win, they get the tag team title opportunity. And I assume the opportunity was going to be at the Royal Rumble.
Again, they faced each other so many times throughout 2018. But these teams are so talented that just the matches you could just keep on watching over and over and over again.
And the most impressive part is they always bring something new to the table. Always.
They never disappoint.
Exactly.
And that's key.
That is key. And these both teams know each other super, super well. They both know how to survive. Sheamus and Cesaro have learned so much from each other being together.
One of the things that I've mentioned to you, Araceli, is that when you know your opponent so well, it forces you to be creative in the ring and come out with new moves. And that's what we're seeing with these two tag teams.
Exactly. And they're not failing at it. They are doing 100% well, and I want to see more from them, you know, and I feel like having them in the same brand has really helped out SmackDown, because if we were to have, whether it was a New Day or The Bar or the Usos in the other brand, which is the Raw brand, I feel like the tag team division would still be what it is, but I feel like it wouldn't be where it is today.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, in SmackDown, you have 3 tag teams that could pretty much carry a brand. You know,
exactly.
Like you said, you have the New Day, The Bar,
and the Usos.
And the Usos. Any of those 3, if you would have put them on Raw, definitely they would have carried the Raw tag team division.
Exactly. So either team, no matter where you put them, they're going to carry and help out their own brand. And, again, as expected, I told Armando Mandy Rose is going to have to cost Jimmy and Jay the match. And as said, she did. She pretty much comes out in a towel and starts telling Jimmy, I think I might have forgotten my gear at your hotel room or in your room. And so then, therefore, that distracts the Usos, therefore losing their opportunity at a championship opportunity.
That sucks that a distraction like that costs them the opportunity.
I agree with that, because, I mean, as much as I wanted to see this match, it's disappointing. But that also gives the opportunity for somebody else to step up.
Definitely. And adding Mandy Rose with the Usos, making it a great feud between her and Naomi.
It is. It really is. So that was a great way to add another feud. But keeping back onto the tag team titles, The Bar, who do you think is going to face them at the Rumble? Now that we know it's not the Usos, I would like to see somebody like Sanity, somebody new, go up against them, because we've already seen what the New Day has to offer against The Bar. We've already seen what the Usos have to offer against The Bar.
I have to agree with you 100%. I really want to see Sanity face them for the title.
I do as well, and I feel like they may be the number 1 contenders. So we'll just have to keep tuning in and find out. We are still 3 weeks away from the Royal Rumble. And The Miz interrupts to challenge, pretty much he wants to challenge The Bar. He wants The Bar versus Miz and Sheamus at the Royal Rumble, because The Bar basically said they have gone through all the tag teams in both Raw and SmackDown and nobody has been able to take them down. And The Miz is confident that him and Shane can do it.
Yeah, he pretty much used Shane McMahon to insert himself in a tag team title picture.
Exactly. And The Bar, they accepted. So therefore, this match is official and it is going to happen at the Royal Rumble.
So it won't be Sanity. It's going to be The Bar versus The Miz and Shane McMahon.
Exactly. It's going to be very interesting. Now, spoiler alert, prediction, I see Miz and Shane winning the championships. But that will come further into our predictions later this month.
And knowing The Miz, how creative he is and how smart, he's got something up his sleeve, and I'm pretty sure he's going to use Shane McMahon to his fullest potential. If not, I mean, we already saw it. He got a tag team title opportunity. If not, to get a WWE Championship title opportunity.
I definitely agree with that scenario right there. He is smart. He knows what he's doing, and it's just going to be interesting to see where they go from here.
Yeah, so, I mean, don't be surprised if he uses Shane McMahon.
And they cut backstage to seeing Naomi walking around backstage, and she bumps into Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, and she's like, "You're testing me." And she takes off her shoes, and she starts going ham on the both of them. She's like, "I can take on both of you."
And she did. I mean, she decided to throw hands backstage.
Exactly.
It's like if it was a street brawl, if you were coming, I see you, and just bam. So
she was 100% ready. She knew what she was going to do, and we saw that when Jimmy was in the match. You saw him running. I don't know if you guys catch that. If you go back and you watch it, you can see him book it right out of there. He didn't even check and see if his brother was okay. He just ran backstage because he already knew Naomi was going to be heated, and she was.
Yeah, definitely. You can see in the background, if you pay attention, him running.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny because I was like, he's running because he knows Naomi's going to be mad. All right, moving on to the main event. And again, the show stealer, the women, man, they are killing it 100%. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair versus Carmella. The winner faces Asuka at the Royal Rumble.
Huge opportunity for these women to get a title shot.
And keep in mind, like, all three of these women have already held the SmackDown Women's Championship or a championship, and that even includes Carmella. And I want to really put Carmella over right now because she was put against two of the biggest stars in the entire women's division, not just from SmackDown, but also from Raw. And I feel like she was the star of this match. She really proves herself, and she really proves that she can hang with top and elite talent.
And I feel that she was trying a lot harder because she wanted to prove a point. Yeah, that she wasn't gifted, that nothing was handed to her. And that she's worked hard to be where she's at, and I think she proved it in this match, but not only in this match, the year she had also.
Exactly, and she does take advantage of every single opportunity. She's kind of like Edge because she is the ultimate opportunist. We saw that with her cash-in. It was brilliant. It was perfect. And yeah, she has already beat Charlotte.
Yeah, and if you notice during the match, she kind of just like, she doesn't sit back, but she's just waiting there for the perfect opportunity for one of the opponents to take each other out. And what does she do? She immediately jumps into the pinfall.
Exactly. And I do feel like Charlotte and Becky saw Carmella as a huge threat because if you pay attention, whenever Carmella would get involved, they would both take her out. They would make sure she was out of the picture. And I feel like that's because they really saw potential and they really saw a threat in Carmella.
Yeah, for sure they didn't underestimate her.
Exactly.
That was the thing, and they showed it throughout the match.
And Charlotte, we already know. You know, she is extremely gifted, extremely talented. Same thing with Becky Lynch. But I do have to give credit to Charlotte because she did not let her emotions get the best of her in this match. She did not get frustrated. We did not see her snap.
Yeah, lately we've been seeing a different Charlotte where she snaps and where if she can't win, she just loses it and just starts, gets disqualified or does something out of the ordinary.
Exactly. And in this case, that didn't end up happening. And Becky Lynch, again, she's proving why she was probably one of the best women to ever hold the SmackDown Women's Championship.
And how exciting we're going to see at the Rumble, Asuka versus the man, Becky Lynch.
And I think it was brilliant that they had Becky make Carmella tap because if you really think about it, it's not going to hurt Carmella in any way. And if she were to beat Charlotte, it was kind of like restarting that feud all over again just because of the clash of egos. So I feel like the way they did it was brilliant. And then Asuka comes out and, she pretty much starts trash talking her, and Becky starts trash talking back. So it's going to be very, very interesting and very, very amazing match at the Royal Rumble.
This match has the potential. It'll be the show stealer at the Royal Rumble.
He is 100% correct with that. I agree 100%. But now for the moment everybody has been waiting for. We promised you guys last week that we were going to give you guys the prediction for our Royal Rumble winners. So, I'll start off. And I already said this 6 months ago. I said this back at SummerSlam. Even before SummerSlam. I think I said it a few weeks before SummerSlam. The winner of the 2019 Women's Royal Rumble will be Charlotte Flair. And she will move on to challenge Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's Championship. Armando, your pick.
I like your pick, but I'm going to have to go with someone that has really, really impressed me since she debuted in the main roster. And that is Ember Moon. And the reason why I picked Ember Moon is because in the Battle Royal that they had a couple months ago, she was
one of the last women.
One of the last women to be standing along with Nia Jax.
And if I remember correctly, at the Rumble, she was also one of the last couple of women that was standing as well. And for everything, she's just there. She's willing to give it 100%. And she could be a quite possible possibility. And I do feel like you have a great pick.
Yeah, Ember Moon, but also you got to keep an eye out on Ruby Riott too.
And the Riott Squad.
Even though Ruby has had a great year too, I'm going to have to go with Ember Moon.
You're going to go with Ember Moon? I 100% agree with that one.
Something new, something fresh.
Yeah, and keep in mind, the talent that she has, and she can work well with anybody. So it's going to be great. And this is not her first Rumble. She has experience from last year. She entered at number 10, I believe. Something along those lines. All right. The Men's Royal Rumble winners. Armando, I'll let you start this one off since I started off the women.
Originally, my pick for the Royal Rumble was The Miz.
Keep in mind, it could still happen, though, because you never know if he's going to be entering the Rumble or not.
But since he has a title opportunity for the Tag Team Championships, that kind of throws my pick off a little bit. Like Araceli said, he could possibly still be in the Rumble. But my other pick would be Finn Balor. And keep in mind, I'm picking Finn Balor just because it makes sense if The Miz doesn't participate in the Rumble just because of the title opportunity he's getting. But originally, sorry to interrupt, was The Miz.
All right, that makes perfect sense. I have to say I agree with that, but he is definitely now my pick. My pick for the 2019 Men's Royal Rumble is, call me crazy. A lot of you guys are going to think I'm crazy. But I really see Seth Rollins winning the Royal Rumble just because of how fired up he is, and I don't feel like he would have been getting this huge push with Triple H if they weren't going to go somewhere big with him. And no matter who he challenges, whether he challenges Brock Lesnar or challenges Daniel Bryan, I see him winning. And personally, here's what I would do, okay? And I'm going to lay it down for you guys flat here on Wrestling with Siblings first. Armando and I already discussed this. I see Seth Rollins winning the Royal Rumble, going on to face Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, because who is Daniel going to face? If Miz doesn't win the Rumble, who is going to be Daniel Bryan's opponent?
And that was one of the main reasons why I had picked
The Miz
at the beginning, because it was like he would be a great opponent for Daniel Bryan.
Now, keep in mind, it could still happen, but at this point, we're kind of in the loop. We don't know what's going to happen. So if Seth wins, he could potentially move to Smackdown before even getting drafted there, and that could be our main event, right? But my second pick, or another possibility that we can possibly have win the Rumble, is Drew McIntyre, just because of the year that he's had, and he's super dominant, and he can take out anybody. But I do see somebody like Drew McIntyre facing Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania.
Definitely, and if anybody could take on Lesnar toe-to-toe, it'll be McIntyre.
100%. So,
and I feel that he's been getting that push this year, these past couple of months, so he could face Brock Lesnar and for the Universal Championship.
So let us know below in the comments what you guys think about our predictions. Let us know what your predictions are. We want to hear that as well. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at WWS. I'll put it on here. And then make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at Wrestling with Siblings. Keep up with us. And for those of you that do not know what WWS stands for, Armando, what does WWS stand for?
Wrestling with Siblings.
Thank you guys so much for all the love and support.
We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Become a sibling today. Join us next week on a brand new episode of Wrestling with Siblings.